Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Own the Moment podcast. My name is TJ Lasig. I'm your host here today, where we're going to be talking all things best ball, including the launch of our new brand, Blitz Fantasy, and the introduction of the newest game, Best Ball Blitz. And of course, when we're talking best ball, there is no other guest that I could possibly have other than the inaugural Underdog Best Ball Mania 1 champion and overall best ball guru, always grinding in the streets. We've got my co-founder, Justin Herzig. Justin, been a while since we've done one of these shows. Excited to get back in the mix. How are we doing on this lovely Monday afternoon?
Doing great. It is June. It is best ball summer. I have obviously been grinding the Underdog, the DraftKings, the Drafters, all the different sites. Best ball is just absolutely taken over. I obviously love it. I know a lot of people in the community have had a lot of fun with it. And excited to talk a little best ball and especially Blitz.
Without a doubt. Yeah, best ball, I feel like, has really, more than anything else, turned football into a season-long or year-long sport at this point. I mean, it's like you have the Super Bowl, and then within a month, people are already starting to draft towards next season. I feel like now June, July is when things even more broadly really start to ramp up. So what we're going to do on this show today is do a quick walkthrough of everything that you need to know about best ball. So we'll talk some Underdog and DraftKings and Drafters and all the sites where Justin's out there grinding the best ball streets. And then we're going to talk through Blitz and the new game that we've launched. We now have our June packs for sale as we speak over at otmnft.com/Blitz Fantasy. And at the end, we're going to open up a pack. And if you're out there listening, stay tuned towards the end for how you could potentially become eligible to win that pack by dropping some comments down here in the YouTube chat. This show here is going to be posted onto the OTM podcast feed as well as to the Own the Moment YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribing to each. We'll have some more content coming throughout the course of this summer, whether it be best ball, DraftKings, Rainmakers, of course, Top Shot all day, all the things. We've got it all going on here at Own the Moment. And so let's get into it. High level agenda here. Just going to start with super overview of what best ball is, how it works. We're going to talk a little bit more specifically about some of the sites and the contests that are out there, the payout structures, everything you need to know there, some high level strategy tips. Maybe Justin can give us a little insight into some of the players or teams that he's high on heading into this season. And then, of course, a deep dive into best ball blitz and everything you need to know there to go ahead and start purchasing your packs today. So there we have it. Justin, let's start super simple here. What is best ball? Maybe there's someone out there that has heard of best ball or maybe not even and has not really gotten too far into it. How would you describe best ball to your average Joe on the streets? And let's take it from there.
Yeah, so best ball is the fun of fantasy football without all the tedious aspects throughout the season. And, those are, hey, you got to do waivers. You got to start sit. You've got to, worry about trades. You're making those difficult decisions and stuff. And hey, if you're playing one league, couple leagues with your friends, I think that's fun. But for people who really want a lot of action, it's difficult to manage a ton of leagues. So what best ball does, it allows you to kind of, hey, take that fun aspect, the drafting, the creating your team, the creating your lineup. And then once your lineup is drafted, that's your lineup for the season. It's set it and forget it. From there, best ball automatically takes your highest scoring players, depending on what the construction for the roster is. But usually it's a certain amount of, each position. And each week throughout the season, there's a leaderboard. You can track to see how you're doing against the other teams in your draft pod or the larger leaderboard. You get the fun of kind of sweating out how your teams, how you're drafting, how your rosters and your lineups do without having to worry about actually, hey, every week, every day I need to go in there, manage it, figure out who the free agents are, what the injuries are, any of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. For me, over the years, it's become just more and more time consuming to play your kind of traditional season long fantasy leagues. I think I'm down to one home league now. I mean, I remember a couple years ago, you and I were in, I think 3 just together. And I think all 3 of those are no longer in operation. And, I think the general trend is moving more towards how can we get the most out of our time. And the most fun part about doing a fantasy league is the draft. So by playing various best ball games. You get to draft in one form or another, enjoy the fun there, and then you get that full season long sweat for your time, for your money. The two kind of main sites I would say that have started best ball is Underdog Fantasy, so you can head on over there, underdogfantasy.com. You can sign up with promo code OTM. That'll get yourself a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. So again, underdogfantasy.com, promo code OTM. Sign up there if you have not already. You can start drafting, and then DraftKings as well has a pretty nice suite of best ball products here. You can also sign up for DraftKings with promo code OTM. So either of those sites, and I know you play on some others as well, Justin. So you want to just give like a quick kind of breakdown of the different sites, maybe some differences, the contests that people can enter, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think Drafters, FFPC are probably the two others that get some decent action. Overall, it's really just kind of what each one has different kind of scoring aspects, tournaments and such. DraftKings and Underdog clearly have the largest tournaments. The Underdog Best Ball Mania this year is a $15 million prize pool, $3 million to first place. DraftKings is a little smaller, but still $1 million to first place and a flatter payout. Also only a $10 entry there versus $25 for the Underdog one. Drafters has one that's a full season. FFPC has some tight end premium aspects. So all some interesting dynamics there. Overall, I think you pick one of the sites, you pick a couple of the sites, start diving in, you figure out what the structure, the format is for that. It's really just fun to kind of play in all these different kind of contest sites and such.
Yeah. Yeah, and in general, how I believe at least the majority of these contests work is that you'll get into a draft, 12-person draft against other people, and then for the most part, I think it's only the winner, but sometimes maybe 2 people out of the 12 advance, and then you can go, and then there's like week after week playoffs. So definitely pay attention to the different contests that you're entering, but a lot of it comes down to that week 17 where there's essentially like one almost daily fantasy sports style contest where all the money gets won. And that's where Justin won the original Underdog one just 3 short years ago.
There you go. I'll give a shout out. So at Establish the Run, where I do some best ball stuff, we put out a 6-part podcast series starting last week that goes into the basics and the strategy elements of best ball, as well as one pod for each of those 4 sites that kind of talk through the differences in each of them. So highly recommend checking that out, just the Establish the Run podcast series or on that YouTube channel. That gives you a lot more of the kind of 101 of the best ball ecosystem and opportunities than we're even going to dive into today.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been grinding those podcasts myself, make sure I keep me up to date. I've done a couple drafts, but haven't gone too crazy yet. I'll probably start picking up my volume a bit in July. I think I did like 50 to 60 or so drafts total last year, which is solid. Nowhere near the Justin level, but I like to get in the mix there, and I'm sure I'll do more as we get closer and closer to the season there. And yeah.
They're really fun, but again, like 50 to 60, that's still like about 50 or so hours of time. And so like it's extremely fun and such, but it also is very time consuming. And like when I think of best ball, I mean, season long leagues, like as I mentioned, I think those are still great for if you have 1-2 leagues with your friends, but it's a pain to manage kind of more than a couple of those. And then like, okay, well, I want to take advantage of my knowledge. I really want to get more sweats in. So like DFS. Now DFS has become very hyper competitive. And so best ball really feels like that perfect blend between the two. But as you're saying, like, I mean, you did 50, 60 last year, and a lot of it is because it is very time consuming. And so you're doing hundreds of drafts, each one taking 45 minutes to an hour. That's a ton of time. And I think it's so important to have innovation in this space. And really, I would say like these forms of best ball was major innovation. 5-7 years ago, there were MFL 10s, which is the first version of best ball. And it was just these 12 people in a group. It's a $10 buy-in, and that was the whole thing. And now, not too much longer, we've got a $15 million prize pool by Underdog and a whole industry being built around this best ball. And so I think like, hey, why I'm so excited about what we're building with Blitz is it's another form of innovation for people that maybe want to get a lot of the benefits of best ball, the sweats, the fun aspects of your team, the lineup construction, but maybe you don't have that much time to be consistently doing these 45-minute to an hour drafts. And that's why I'm so excited for Blitz, because we really take the sweat of that team where, hey, you can take that sweat for the entire year. You build a lineup, you get a pack. There's some fun aspects to it. You go on the leaderboard, see how you're doing each week. But, hey, you can do as many as you want, and each one only takes a couple minutes. So we'll get more into that, but I'm ahead of myself here, but that's why I'm so excited.
I think it's actually a perfect transition at this time because, I everything you just said there resonates with me personally, right? It's kind of like you start at the top, like you said, with the traditional season-long fantasy and the amount of time that takes, not just in the draft, but all season long with trades and waiver management and setting your lineups. Then you introduce best ball, where you're saving all of that time during the year. But as Justin said, you're still going through the 45-minute plus draft process. And so, what we're looking to do at Own the Moment is always trying to take different bits and pieces that we've liked from various games and products across the industry and see if we can add a little extra innovation on that. And that is where we come in with Blitz Fantasy and Best Ball Blitz, which is a fun, simple, fast way to play fantasy sports. So let's break down how this works. So what we'll do, I think I'll give like a little bit of a 101 of how the game works, and then kick it over to you, Justin, for your thoughts on it from there. But Blitz Best Ball is a pack-based fantasy football game where you open up a pack. In your pack, you will have 20 different cards. Now, in this first version of the game, each of these cards is representative of a football team and a position. So, for example, you could have the Cincinnati wide receiver. And so instead of just getting points for one player, you get points for the entire Cincinnati wide receiver position group. So in that case, you're getting Jamar Chase, you're getting T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Every time all of those guys score points, your card scores points for all of those. So that's kind of one thing to get out ahead of. But from there, of the 20 cards that you have in your pack, you select your best 12-card lineup as you see fit. And then each week throughout the NFL regular season, we automatically put in your quote-unquote best ball 6-player score from the 12 that you have selected. So your best lineup each week of quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense, and then a super flex. Just like in Underdog and DraftKings, you don't have to do any weekly management, no setting lineups, no trades, nothing like that. You simply open up your pack, see the cards and teams that you have in there, put together your 12-card lineup, and then nothing else the rest of the year will automatically put in your best optimal 6-card score each week. Those scores will accumulate throughout the course of the entire regular season. And then at the end, one person who scores the most points will be deemed the champion. Really is the fastest way to play fantasy sports, to kind of put together that quick puzzle and get your sweat all season long. Justin, what are your thoughts on Best Ball Blitz? And why are you so excited about this format that we have just launched as of last week? These are live right now.
Yep, I love it. And hey, the beauty is we're going to finish this stream and then we're going to open a pack. And about 5 minutes later, we will have our pack, we'll have our lineup, and that's one entry into the contest. And hey, and these are contests that are made by people who play fantasy for people that play fantasy football. Like, what's great about it? It's going to be flat payouts. It's going to be 100% of the entries that go into these contests is being paid out as well. There's no rake on these as well. This is really a user-friendly. This is fun for the ecosystem. And this is something that, hey, especially now, like, I'm excited just to get people in the game, because a lot of people know us for what we've done with kind of Rumble for NFL All Day, or Hoops for Top Shot, or some of the other contests for, what we built for playoff. We had playoff best ball last year for the NFL, or some contests for golf. So this is just going to be another way to, hey, add some fun into the ecosystem, play in these contests, come join. And I think it is a little different because it is that team-based format. It's a little different because instead of having to have, draft 18 players and know the difference between Ty Chandler and Dwayne McBride and who's going to be the number 2 or 3 back for Minnesota, hey, you're getting that entire backfield. And so this really feels like a bit more of a, not the hyper competitiveness of DFS, but more that fun, social. And there's still strategic elements that if you're willing to kind of get in there, because, hey, if you think about like, okay, who's the best running back this year? Or some of the best running backs, like, okay, maybe you think that it's Jonathan Taylor. Maybe you think that it is Bijan Robinson. But because this is the entire position group, maybe there's a different one that's actually a stronger one because they've got a great combo. Maybe that Green Bay Packers, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon actually is, what, in your opinion, the best duo, the best combo in space. So there's a lot of those kind of edges that can be had if you're really, thinking about it strategically. Then there's stacking. Then there's, hey, I want to get the right quarterbacks and wide receivers in that team. I'm really bullish on these teams and really want to fade these teams. So lots of kind of elements that come into play. I'm pumped. I've already been open some of these packs with community members and on some streams, and it's so much fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the simplicity really is key there. For me, as someone who's been knee deep in the fantasy sports industry for over a decade now, like, things are complicated. And, if you are not in the trenches every single day, keeping up with the latest news and player trends, it can become a lot. And you can start to feel like you're playing in these contests where, you simply have no chance to win because you're not as informed as some of the other people. I think with this Blitz game, it levels the playing field in a way where people who are maybe not as hyper in the weeds are still able to put together reasonable lineups and compete. But there's plenty of strategic elements that go along with it as well. It's kind of like that perfect sweet spot of, you have the pack luck to start. You can only operate with what items are in your pack. But then once you have that, it's your kind of own little personal puzzle that you get to put together however you best see fit based on the strategies that you think are going to prevail in the 2023 football season. So maybe what we should do next is actually share screen and open that pack so people can visualize the experience. And for those listening on the podcast, you can also head on over to the YouTube channel. Just search Own the Moment on YouTube. You'll be able to find it if you want to go ahead and check out the pack opening experience to see what it looks like. But B, after we open this pack, we're going to have a little method for people to potentially win a free pack as a part of a giveaway.
And as you're getting that going, I think one thing it's kind of a common question is, TJ, Justin, it's June. Why are we talking about fantasy football in June? Season doesn't start for 96 days or something like that. Maybe 95. I'm not sure. But here's the thing. One is, as we said, like, I'm already, I think, like 400 drafts in from the underdog standpoint, from the DraftKings standpoint. This is a year-round opportunity. And what we've really done to make sure that, hey, there is not like, oh, you're going to get substantial edge if you wait and enter your lineups back down in September before the season starts, is these are all time box contests. So the ones that are available right now, they lock at the end of June. So all the information is going to be really time boxed into June. So we may not know, hey, which team is actually going to have the best wide receivers, because we don't know. Maybe DeAndre Hopkins, is he going to sign in Kansas City? Is he going to sign on Buffalo? Is he going to go to Cleveland? If that doesn't happen in June, maybe you got to make some guesses or something. Or maybe, we're not sure which teams are going to have higher passing rates, rushing rates. These are the things that if you think you have an idea now, you want to maybe make some guesses, make some smart projections, then you have the ability to kind of capitalize on that during June. Because come July, because come August, there's going to be other contests. There might be some other formats as well. We're keeping this going all summer, but the fun starts now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So make sure you get in on those June best ball packs. We're going to go ahead, share screen here, and walk through what the process looks like. And I'll also call out that there's going to be a special giveaway for every single June pack that gets purchased. So for each June pack that you go out there and purchase, you'll be entered into a raffle for a giveaway. So make sure you check those out. To get started here, you can head on over otmnft.com/blitzfantasy, or just head on to any of our pages, click on this fantasy football banner. It'll take you right to the Blitz page. You'll see the June best ball packs available for sale. We've already got over 100 entries, and we just released 3 or 4 days ago. So you can go ahead there, make your pack purchase, which will then have your pack show up in your collection, and you can then go ahead, open them through this process. Should we do it, Justin?
Let's go. I'm ready.
Opening video there. drop. Door in the
Look,
pack
tell a man no
drop.
trouble. I don't want beef, man. I just want vibes. Big man like me, no need.
We'll
We
pause
mute
the
that.
music. But when you're ripping these alone, you're going to want to be vibing to the tunes. And here we have it. So, yeah, for anyone watching on YouTube, you can see the kind of 20 blank screens here. For people on the podcast, I'll also talk through what we're doing. You open up your pack. You now have 20 icons, and you can hover over each of them and then click on them, and it will reveal the team and position combination that's underneath of them. There's 20 total. You're guaranteed to get at least 2 of each position. So that's quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense. Your first 10 will be 2 by 2 of each of those. And then the last 10 completely random by position. So Justin, let's go ahead, open them up. These first 2 will be our quarterbacks, running backs.
As you go through, I'll read them for the podcast listeners. We got Detroit QB, Baltimore QB. We got Atlanta and Detroit running backs. We got a little stack going on there. We got Cleveland and Green Bay wide receivers. We got Vegas and Minnesota tight ends. Strong tight ends. One strong tight end. Other ones, Austin Hooper and Foster Moreau. No, not Foster Moreau. Austin Hooper and Michael Mayer. Okay, and then defenses Pitt and Jets. Both good defenses there. Strong card coming out the gates. All right, maybe we'll do a quick reveal for the other 10. We'll go down that line. We've got Tampa QB, Buffalo QB, New England tight end, one of my sneaky favorites, Tampa running back, Jets running back. That's a really strong one, especially with Dalvin Cook rumors to the Jets. Baltimore running backs, Chargers QB, Philly wide receivers, Tampa tight end, New England DSC. This is one of the strongest cards I have ever seen.
Great pack. I love what we're looking at here.
I'm not being like facetious or even I'm blank out of words. There are some really strong cards. So let's build that lineup. And what's nice is when you go to build the lineup, it immediately organizes them into positions. So the top 5, we have 5 QBs, 5 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 4 tight ends, and 3 defenses. A little light on the wide receiver, but I'm liking the division elsewhere. And this is where some strategy stuff comes in. So I'm going to start off right off the bat. Let's get Buffalo QB up there, even though there's no stacks there. Josh Allen might just still be the number 1 QB overall. I think we throw Baltimore QB in there too. It is 6 points per passing TD. And so maybe, Lamar's not as valuable because of the rushing. Maybe let's throw the Chargers in there too. Justin Herbert, maybe one of the most explosive offenses here with Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator. Loving that. Okay. Running backs. We've got Atlanta, Detroit, Tampa, Jets, and Baltimore. I'm going to get rid of Tampa. That's not a good one this year. Atlanta, you've got Bijan and Algier. Detroit, you've got Gibbs, new rookie, 12th overall. And you've got David Montgomery signed this year. Jets, you've got Breece Hall. You've got a slew of other guys behind him. And rumors they might be trading for Dalvin Cook. And then Baltimore, you've got Dobbins and Gus Edwards. I would say let's go Atlanta, Detroit, and the Jets to start off. All 3 really strong running backs.
Love that. I did not know about these Dalvin Cook rumors. That would definitely spice up a little Jets.
Really interesting.
Jets running back card there.
Just coming out a little today. We'll see if anything comes to fruition there. Most likely Minnesota will be releasing him or trading him, or he'll just take a really big pay cut, but we'll see. Wide receivers, we only have 3. We have Cleveland, we have Green Bay, we have Philly. Cleveland, you've got Amari Cooper, Donovan Jones, Elijah Moore, maybe DeAndre Hopkins. I like getting Cleveland. That's pretty strong. Philly, also very strong with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. So we'll put that in. Green Bay, I don't hate, but it really is kind of it's a little weaker. So let's hold off on Green Bay for now. We have 4 spots left. We need to have at least 1 of each position. I think we probably go with a 1 DST build here and just go with the Jets. Get some correlation with our Jets running backs, and Jets have a really good D. I like that. Tight end, Minnesota with Hawkinson's a really strong one. New England, you get Gesicki and Hunter Henry, but I probably would just go Minnesota tight end here. And now we have 2 slots remaining. we only have 2 wide receivers. Let's just throw in the Green Bay wide receivers. It is Christian Watson. It is Romeo Doubs. It is, added another wide receiver in Jaden Reed in the draft this year. And the last tight end slot, we could go with New England because you're getting Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki. I kind of like that to end it.
I like that. Yeah, that's definitely one of the sneaky things that we've seen in the past with the scoring system. Like New England running back, I remember in years past was a good one for that because you'd get the Ramondre Stevenson and the
Damian Harris.
Yeah. You lock up all those touchdowns. So I like the double tight end combo as well as there to go along with Hawkinson. This is a nice looking lineup. So we're looking at 3 quarterbacks, Buffalo, Baltimore, and the LA Chargers. 3 running backs, Atlanta, Detroit, New York Jets. 3 wide receivers, Cleveland, Philly, and Green Bay. And then 2 tight ends, Minnesota and New England. And then 1 single defense with the New York Jets. I think that's pretty solid construction and, a pretty balanced way to approach it and build these 12-player cards.
Yeah, I'm really content with this. I think this is probably one of the stronger cards we have seen, definitely that we have opened, have seen a decent amount of people posting them either on Twitter or in the Discord. But like this is a really good one. And works out well that we're going to be giving this away to some lucky person.
Yes, indeed. So I'm going to go ahead and save this lineup right here. If you are interested in entering the giveaway for this, Justin, what are we going to have the people do? We got to have some kind of comment here in the YouTube channel. First off,
or podcast. We're going to give options. We're going to service the audio listeners as well.
Love it. Yeah. So first off, make sure you are subscribed to the podcast and subscribed to the YouTube channel. That's going to be option number 1. Second is we're going to leave a YouTube comment and or a podcast review. What should we have people say in the YouTube comments, Justin? Any kind of hot take that we want them to be putting in there, or what kind of comments should we be looking for?
I'm fine with letting people be creative. Let people know what's up with OTM games and all of that.
I like it.
And each person can get 2 entries. You can get 1 entry by leaving a comment on the podcast on Apple Pods, another one for leaving an entry on the YouTube channel. We'll probably give this about a week or so, a week or 2, and then we will accumulate all of those commenters, spin them on, go on a wheel, and someone is going to be winning this card.
Absolutely love it. So there we have it. Give us your thoughts in the comments. It can be who you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year, who you think is a sleeper fantasy pick, who you think is going to be the best card in Best Ball Blitz. However you best see fit, just make sure you're leaving a comment, leaving a review. We do appreciate all of the support. Like the YouTube stream while you are at it. We'll be, as I said at the beginning of the show, coming back to you with more content in the coming weeks as we ramp up towards football season. Did want to keep this show pretty brief and concise just so we make sure we're getting people exactly the information they need and nothing more. Justin, any final thoughts, hot takes, anything to close out the show? He's got one more. Here we go.
This is a free pack. This is about free packs. So obviously, if you are a Jolly Joker holder, you get a free entry into a Jolly Jokers contest. So make sure you log onto the site. You will get that. But also, we are going to have a few other free contests throughout the summer. So keep an eye out. One way that I can guarantee is if you follow me on Twitter, keep an eye because I will have a Twitter followers only free contest with some prizes for everyone there. So go ahead, follow me on Twitter and keep an eye out. I will be kind of posting that, and anyone who's following me on Twitter will get a free entry into that contest with those prizes. So make sure you do that as well. It's going to be a fun summer. Let's play some best ball.
The summer of best ball is upon us. Make sure you're following Justin on Twitter at Justin Herzig. You can follow me as well at TJL5124DFS. And that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. So on behalf of Justin, on behalf of Blitz Fantasy and Best Ball Blitz, I am TJ Lasig, and we will see you all next time.